What's up, guys? So I wanted to share with you guys what I personally want to avoid in 2019. I collected 8 things that I would personally avoid to make 2019 the best year yet. Now, possibly you can implement one of these 8 things even from tomorrow. So I'm gonna go over those 8 points I would personally avoid. First thing that I would avoid for sure is avoid fools who are there to just criticize and drain your energy and try to distract your focus. Second thing I would avoid is to avoid blindly following the mainstream ideas. Right? Mainstream ideas, we are human nature. By human nature, we are conformist to the mainstream because we have a desire to fit in. So we want to avoid unconsciously following the mainstream. Third thing that I would avoid 2019 is believing in relative truth. In this context, relative is like relative truth versus absolute truth. Absolute truth are like law of physics. You cannot unturn that objectivity of the law of physics, whereas relative truth are not global and absolute across cultures and countries. It's only true within certain sets of cultures, countries, kind of people. So I would definitely avoid believing in relative truth. Fourth one that I would avoid being stuck in beliefs from the past from other people. So we are human beings. We don't really think rationally as much as we think we like to do. We inherit a lot of beliefs from past people, past society. So I would definitely avoid blindly following those beliefs created by people who are not smarter than us in the past, as Steve Jobs said. Fifth thing that I would avoid for sure, avoid being lazy and being stuck in the past or in one place. Basically, you want to avoid being stagnating. Number six, avoid compromising your true feelings, expressions, emotions, your intuitions, and your thoughts. You want to avoid lying to yourself. You want to avoid having a life for self-denial, right? Seventh, avoiding fears and failures and mistakes. So basically, we don't like to make mistakes. We don't want to look like we are dumb. We want to look smarter. So we have the tendency to avoid fears and pains. We want to avoid avoiding pains and mistakes. I'm going to talk about that later in this video. Last thing, eighth, avoid living your life for someone else. It's so common that, especially academically accomplished people, that they live their life for somebody else, like parents. Their life is just full of beliefs and expectation casted onto them. It's so common that people like lawyers, doctors, engineers, accountants, those traditionally prestigious professions, they follow those because their parents told them to. But them inside, they're internally unhappy and unfulfilled because they are not really what they wanted to do. So you want to definitely avoid living your life for somebody else. You don't want to live your life to make somebody else that'll make you unhappy, right? So that's that. That's a kind of quick overview. I'm gonna go over each points real quick. So avoid fools. Number one, what do I mean by avoid fools who are just there to criticize and try to distract you, and basically they're just kind of pebbles in your shoes. It's kind of like it's there. It's the nature of life. They're always fools and people who are criticizing you no matter what. No matter what level you are, there are always those people. And as they tend to focus on short-term attention, short-term feeding of like looking good, looking more secure, looking more smarter than you by bringing you down. And that's their focus. They emphasize on trivial matters, and they never talk about something rational. So their whole point is to drag you down on an emotional, drama and a political madness, as opposed to having the rational, logical conversation. So they don't care if their logic is correct or not, or your logic is correct or not. So you cannot win the argument with those fools. they're just simply part of life, like rocks or pebbles in your shoes. So you need to just move on, because their focus is to distract you. You cannot win the argument with them, because every time you're going to talk back and try to win the argument, they're going to distract. They're going to change the topic, right? Because rationality and logical correctness doesn't matter to them, right? So you simply waste your time and value. So how to detect if they're fools or not? By them focusing on irrational things and emotions. They're never gonna attack you for your credibility of your work. They're gonna attack you about something trivial that's irrelevant to what you talk about. Number 2, avoid blindly following the mainstream. Conformism, or the need to fit in, is our human nature. It is good to be at least aware about our human nature, and one of them is conformism. I'll tell you, like, a lot of smart people, like entrepreneurs, successful people, are questioning their beliefs, or they're questioning the conventional wisdom and mainstream, because they know that the majority of people, mainstream idea, conventional ideas are often wrong. I read a book once by Sam Walton, who is a founder of Walmart. Also, I read another one, like Einstein. They know that just a lot of people just conform to the mainstream idea because we like to just copy and imitate what majority of people do, regardless of the legitimacy and the accuracy and the correctness of those beliefs. They don't really believe those beliefs just because they're a rational thinker. It's because they just want to conform so that they don't get ostracized from the community. All right? So there are a lot of mainstream ideas about careers, about professions, religions, the way you live, a lot of like limiting beliefs called social programming. It's there. They're there to keep us safe, because we don't need to make a decision every single time by ourselves. If we follow the herd, like think about herds, herds of birds or like sheep, right? They follow the group because they don't need to think independently and critically every single time. It saves us time to make a decision every single time. So it's there for us to be safe. It's in instinct, It's kind of a outdated biological wiring, because we are not living in a place where we're gonna be, hunted by other hunters. Right now, it's pretty safe, but it's in there. It's there to play, but if we play it safe by just following the mainstream idea, then we're gonna miss a lot of potentials in life, and they are not rational basis beliefs. All right, and there are going to be people there. They're gonna make you feel guilty if you're being unique, or if you're being creative, and if you're not following the mainstream idea. But basically, that's telling you that they're saying, "Oh, hey, look at me. I'm better than you because I'm following the mainstream idea, conventional idea. I'm one of the mainstream people. I'm the cool kid." What they're telling you basically is that they're shackled by those ideas created by other people. They're shackled. And then they're trying to make you feel guilty because you don't fit in. But you know what? If you can find your own path, cherish your uniqueness, because you can actually get to the place where those people cannot get you. That's why there are many entrepreneurs that try to challenge the status quo, because they believe there are other ways to do it. There are more innovative way to accomplish something. They are always questioning the existing conventional belief system. That's that. Fourth one is avoid believing relative truth. There are a lot of relative truth passed from generation to generation from in the past. It's even like sometimes 1,000 years ago. A lot of concepts like marriage, money, religion, school system, kind of profession, those are all relative values, because if you go jump from one culture to another culture, let's say from Japan to the United States, their ideas about work is different. ideas about what professions are considered high status is different. The way they view love and relationship and marriage is different among cultures. So they are not absolute among all the culture. They are only relative within certain sets of people. So these are like relative culture, tribalism, socialism, democracy, religions, ideas about education, love, marriage, career, almost everything. You can find or you can identify this relative truth by thinking about if they are trying to tell you what you should do or what you shouldn't do. So there are a lot of should. You should do this, you shouldn't do this, or you should go to college, you should get a job like finance, accountant, lawyer, doctor, engineers. You should not drop out of college, you should not date this kind of guy or girl, you should not dress like this, you should not look like this, should and shouldn't. But you know what? Once you open up your mental bandwidth, open up your perspective, there are actually a lot of different ways to do it. And those should tend to be relative truth. And once Steve Jobs said, I'm going to quote what he said, Steve Jobs, the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life the way it is inside the world that's already established. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family life, have fun, save money, make money, and then buy a house, get a mortgage, get more debts, work 40 years, and then finally retire. That's very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. That is, everything around you that you call life was actually made up by people who are no smarter than you in the past. Steve Jobs. So a lot of shoulds and shouldn'ts are actually stifling rules about work and spirituality, culture, life, food. So you should question those those beliefs, because culture and those beliefs, mainstream ideas and beliefs, are there to keep it safe. But there's much more to the life. Number 4, avoid being stuck in beliefs from the past and others. That's kind of similar to what I just talked about. There are a lot of shackles from the cultural baggage from the past about religious, stifling rules about religion, about sexuality, about work and profession. I'm gonna go through this pretty quick, but once you push yourself into something new, a whole new world of opportunities open up. You might get hurt, you might make mistakes, you might embarrass yourself, and then people is gonna point finger at you like, hey, look at you. That's why you should have conformed to the conventional belief. But you know what? Creativity is by nature the act of boldness and breaking the status quo. It's rebellious act, creativity. Entrepreneurship is also act about creativity because it's going against the status quo. And along the way, people like fools gonna come at you and laugh at you when you make a mistake or if you fail. But you know what? It's just act of being bold, and it's just a path. It's just the way it is. You cannot avoid making mistakes. But you know what? They're gonna be there no matter what. But once you make mistakes maybe 100 times or 200 times or maybe 990th time, and once you get to 100th time and you succeed, you find something that you really wanted to, then you're gonna achieve that so much more magnitude of happiness that you always wanted to. So you get to much better place that you never thought you could by following the path. 5th, avoid being lazy and being stuck in one place. So this is the idea about you as a human, you should be evolving emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically throughout your life. Education doesn't stop until university or high school. Education should be there. You should continue learning even after university education. Even like you go to workforce, you start working professionally, taking on new ideas, reading books, or traveling to expand your ideas and minds and perspectives. You should improve your learn about new philosophies, cultures, thoughts, way of being, living spirituality. And some people it's gonna come at you and say, hey, you have too much of the high standard. Why, you should be happy with the current standard. You should settle down. You should, be happy with current job. You should be happy with the current relationship. You should be happy with this house. Trying to have more, get more, accomplish more is kind of greedy. People is going to come at you and tell you that. And don't fall into this trap. They are there to make you feel guilty of becoming better version of yourself because they're basically lazy. They don't have much motivation or meaning or purpose in their life to achieve something more so that you can push the humanity forward. Basically becoming better version of yourself and contributing to the society by being better, elevating your self-awareness, elevating your intellectual skill, ability, spirituality. You can bring other people up. You can bring people from lower place to higher place. But if you're being lazy and just being couch potato and being happy, then you're just a consumer, right? They're just trying to make you feel guilty by having high standard. But you know what? Those people tend to be lazy. They don't contribute to the society that much because they're just happy by being self-indulgent. They're just seeking short-term pleasure. There's nothing wrong with having a higher standard and motivation as long as those are motivated, driven from the sense of growth and contribution, not the external validation. So there are some people like fools that's gonna tell you, oh, you're just having too high standard. You should look at yourself and you should be happy with what you already have. That's completely wrong. Anyways, 6, avoid compromising your true feeling, expression, intention. This is basically, you shouldn't live your life for your self-denial. Life shrinks and expands in proportion to your courage to follow and pursue your intent and expression. Many people live their lives so that they don't ruffle somebody's feathers. They don't want to upset their parents and friends and colleagues. So they just played safe, They just conform to the mainstream idea. That's not fun, That's not fun. And they're basically living somebody else's beliefs. They're following somebody else's dreams and belief system. They're gonna regret, if they have only one more day to live, if they know they're gonna die tomorrow, would they be happy that they live somebody else's dreams and goals in life, as opposed to your own, goals, your dreams, what do you want to do? So that emotional inertia, the laziness, emotional inertia, keep you from trying something new. It's basically they are there to keep you safe, be having the status quo. But you know what? If you live somebody else's life, it's basically you're living with a denial of your feelings, emotions, expression, intentions. And even if you wanted to have something else, only way to get what you wanted, because you're basically compromising your beliefs and feelings, only way to get what you want is to manipulate others as if you really don't want it. You don't want to live like that, you don't want to live life with a self-denial, bending, suppressing your truth, or full lies. So you should have a courage to take action to get what you want. Open up your intentions, expose your true self, even if that means sometimes you need to feel embarrassed, or sometimes you need to expose your vulnerability about what you truly feel about. But not doing that, only alternative of not living your life true to yourself and the intention is basically full of self-denial, lies, and manipulation of other people. That sounds pretty shitty to me. So you don't want to live like that. 7th, avoiding fears. Okay, most of us have become pretty much experts at avoiding these fears and anxieties. We don't want to feel rejected. We don't want to feel like we're a failure. So we play it safe. We don't want to look embarrassed. That's going to keep you safe, keep you, having the emotional inertia. You're going to lose momentum. You're going to be maintaining the status quo. So you're going to play it safe. You're not going to do something bold and creative. Basically, you're going to just try to fit in. That's pretty boring, right? But you should strive for, opposed to doing that, instead of doing that, you should strive to be unique and embrace your uniqueness, embrace your true feelings, vulnerability, and transcend above that. Because that means risking not being accepted by other people. That's what many successful people have done. They risk not being accepted by everybody because somebody is going to always criticize you. And doing that, you basically need to sacrifice somebody's approval of you or your idea in order to live your own life on your terms. All right, this is coming, all that things are coming together as one piece, as an overall picture. You know, if you're conforming to other people, basically you're compromising, you're bending your own feelings. So, to avoid living life for denial and lies, you need to sacrifice some people's approval of your belief or your way of living, because you cannot please and satisfy everybody else, right? So you need to sacrifice other people's approval. So you need to stop giving a fuck about everybody else's approval and validation. Lastly, number 8, avoid living your life for someone else. I kind of talked about this, but certain people is going to tell you, oh, you're wrong with doing this and do that. You should be doing this, you should be doing that. But you know what? Don't listen to those people, because you cannot get approval and validation from everybody, right? From the previous point. Last thing, this is number 8, right? So think about heart. You know, we have an organ called heart. Our heart takes up a lot of blood because this is the pump, you know, pumping up oxygen through the blood. There's a kind of analogy saying, some people say the heart is the most selfish organ in the body because it keeps all the blood, good blood for itself. But if the heart died, it would take every other organ with it. The liver, the kidneys, brain. That means the heart, in a way, has to be selfish for its own preservation. So don't let people tell you that you're selfish and wrong to follow your own heart. I urge you, I give you permission to break the rules, to think outside the norm of a traditional society. Because if you don't be selfish enough for your own life, your life is dead. Your mind, brain, time, emotions are dead. Think about your life, yourself, limited time you have in this earth as like a heart. If your heart dies, everything else dies. Every other organs in your life is gonna die if your heart dies. So if you die, if you're not selfish enough, your life completely falls off. So this is a kind of message from this analogy about heart, body. You can't be selfish enough for your own life because you're not there to please everybody else. Your life is not to please your parents. You know, you're there to live your own life. You need to sometimes sacrifice somebody else's validation. You cannot please everybody else. And therefore, you need to give up certain level of desire to fit into the group and the mainstream ideas. All right? So it is all about living true to your expression, feelings, your soul, intuition, and following that as opposed to following somebody else. All right? Those are the 8 things I would avoid doing personally from 2019. I've implemented most of them in my life, but I just wanted to share with you guys because these are compilation of knowledge and quotes and analogies from many books like Mastery by Robert Greene, The Code of the Extraordinary Mind by Vishen Lakhiani, The Awaken the Giant Within by Tony Robbins, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson, other good books, and also quotes from Steve Jobs, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sam Walton, other extraordinary minds. Hope you found this video useful. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye. Ciao.